Everybody, good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning. It is September 11th. Oh my gosh, 8 a.m. Rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully getting your day started off on the right note. Before we get into anything else, just it's September 11th. And no matter how many years go by, I always want to take a moment, at least personally. And since we're all hanging out together, why don't we do that together, right? Take a moment and just remember those that lost their lives. Remember those that were touched by this terrible day years ago. And remember those that will never come home to their families. It's a tragic, tragic day in our United States history. And to my recollection, it also showed the best parts of the United States, our people coming together, regardless of political party, regardless of anything else. So, to that point, just one of those things that I hope that we can take a moment and come together on it. So anyway, all right, moving on. It's a beautiful morning. It's a little cloudy, a little damp outside. Let me take you to our Tower Cam network, see what's doing. This is a live shot over in Port Canaveral. Gray skies, even some low clouds. Of course, you can see Hurricane Francine there in the bottom left corner. We'll be getting through all of the nuts and bolts on that storm system, making sure to update you. In just a little bit. Want to make sure to get to our local forecast, though, of course. All right. So there's a look at Port Canaveral. It's gray. It's cloudy. Let's head up the shoreline to the Kennedy Space Center. Yep, there's the low clouds. And just seeing the flag at half staff for September 11th just kind of brings it all back, doesn't it? Yeah. All right. Up to New Smyrna Beach. Let's see what's doing here. The low cloudiness continues. And wow, that's actually a really neat shot, isn't it? The storm's off in the distance there. Yep. The sun trying to come up over the clouds. Yeah. Wow, I could look at that for forever. Always a lovely morning. All right, let's head inland, see what's doing over at the Orlando International Airport. It is a beautiful morning, isn't it? We'll head to downtown Orlando, see what's doing. Oh, look at that glow cloud deck. It's technically VFR. Let's look and see what the cloud at Orlando Executive Airport. I'm just curious what the cloud. I mean, that's looking the opposite direction though. Let's turn and look at the other downtown camera here. Yeah, so it's not bad right at Executive. Executive's reporting nothing. They have not reported Orlando. And oh, here we are. Scattered at 600 feet. All right, so that's what Executive's reporting. The scattered at 600. Orlando International Airport reporting a few at 600. So there's definitely some low clouds overhead, right? All right, out to the tourist district we go. Let's check in, see what's doing. Yeah, a little haze, but it's beautiful, isn't it? We'll do Tavares and Marion County. All right, so here's Ocala. There's the low clouds, but the sun is shining through, and Tavares. It's a pretty shot. Pretty shot. Good morning, friends. All right, temperatures out the door this morning are looking comfortable. First warning live Doppler radar. A little active, right? Yeah, here's a live look at our radar, and at least the rains have receded from Brevard County's shoreline. Let's zoom in just a little bit and kind of see the rains tapering off, just like yesterday morning. Some rain maybe sneaking up toward Volusia County, and it's still pouring here in Palm Coast and Marineland. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, it's raining. As a matter of fact, it's not a tower cam, but it's a weather flow shot. Let's look at our weather stem. All right, so this is Marineland. Let's just look and see what this camera looks like. Yeah, that's weather stem in Marineland. So just kind of depends. It's raining. It's raining. Let's look out in Bunnell, see what that camera looks like since we're talking about the crummy-ish weather. All right, it's not so bad here in Bunnell up in Flagler County, so it just kind of depends on where you are. All right. So that was the radar. Temperatures out the door in the 70s. No surprise here. We are headed, though, into we got the inset box, so I got to do the half screen version. We are headed into the upper range of the 80s today, and we'll run a 60% coverage of showers and thunder showers. So it's another active weather day. Let's take a look at the Futurecast model, kind of get an idea of where we are for rainfall today. All right, running through. And let's just back it up. Clearly, it's showing the showers along the shoreline, clearly off the coast. Watch how 10 o'clock still with some rainfall. Flagler, Volusia, 11, 12 o'clock starting to spread across the rest into Marion County. And then by 1, 2 o'clock into the metro, widespread showers and thunder showers continuing into the evening. All right. So that's where we're at rainfall wise. Yeah. Another active one. Good times. Good times. Anne says in a few weeks we will have no rain for a while. Well, the dry season, yeah. The dry season is not far away. Mid-October is when that usually starts. Those sea breeze storms come to an end, cold fronts start arriving. The average is October 15th. We'll see. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon. We do usually get our first cool front already by this point. The first cool front, meaning temperatures dropping into the 60s for the metro, that usually happens around September 5th. Here we are, September 11th. That has not happened. The mid 60s, the first mid 60s morning is usually early October, but we have not seen any indicators of those happening anytime soon. And I'll just share the 7-day forecast with you here because we're not really looking at that in the next couple of days' time. All right, here's the 7-day forecast, and I'll drop the inset box just for a moment. I do not spy morning lows in the 60s. We've got plenty of storms, though notice the pattern does finally begin to break down a little bit this weekend into early next week. We finally begin to see a bit of a break in this pattern. So what's going on? Let's kind of take a look and see where we're at, okay? So this weekend, we finally start to pull that area of low pressure away and develop a frontal boundary, or take that and reverse it. Finally start to watch this frontal boundary pull away by developing an area of low pressure, okay? And that's going to pull in some drier air, and that's going to set us up, I think, for not only the potential of some tropical development off the southeastern United States, but the drier air trying to work on in. So little bit by little bit by little bit, we'll be getting better there, okay? So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, again on our 7-day forecast, we'll see those rain chances starting to drop off. This current crummy weather pattern starting to break down. Yeah, from a 60% coverage of rain today to a 30% coverage of rain for our Monday and our Tuesday. So things are starting to improve and look a little bit better. Okay. All right. Questions about our local forecast before we go on to the tropics? Certainly the tropics, the big question for everybody. Thankfully, no threats here in Central Florida, but there's definitely stuff to watch. Okay. All right. So, questions about our local forecast. I'll give you a few seconds. James says that's fine. We need to dry out some. Yeah, buddy. I would agree with that. Yep. All right. Going once, going twice, 3 times a lady. Sold. All right. To the tropics. I've been running it in the bottom left corner, but we'll get to it anyway. There is the 8 a.m. intermediate advisory on Hurricane Francine. It is a Category 1 storm. Maximum sustained winds are at 90 miles an hour. Let's flip the switch from the satellite imagery and look at the Doppler radar. And I just want to zoom in here. You see this big swath of rain moving into Louisiana. Big flooding concerns certainly will be there. But the core of the storm is still offshore. Let me switch gears. We're going to look at the radar kind of in a different sense here. All right, this is the higher resolution radar, and that core is coming better and better into radar range there on the bottom left corner of the screen, right? But that big swath of rain is continuing. So in terms of rain, let's just look at the Futurecast model data for how much rain. Actually, you know what? Because the button I found wasn't Futurecast, so don't judge me. This is the European model. But watch how the European model is throwing widespread 3 to 5 inches and a pretty decent swath of area getting into a 5 to 8. So a half a foot of rain Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. Half a foot of rain, certainly in some spots. Um, yeah, pretty decent little storm. Here's the forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center, which is still calling for this to become a Category 2 storm right before landfall. Here, I'll zoom it in just to kind of give you an idea on timing and all of that fun stuff. So through this afternoon, intensification expected to continue and making landfall sometime late today into early tomorrow. Yeah. All right. So that's the latest on Francine. Winds are at 90. Category 2 storm is winds of 100 miles an hour. So we're really not that far off. Tropical models should be no surprise. They seemingly are in fairly tight agreement, as they should. We've been running recon missions here and all the like. And it looks like kind of looking on the right side of the bay, getting close to New Orleans. So this is where we need to start looking at computer models and getting an idea of what our friends in Louisiana are going to deal with. Okay. So let me dial this up. We'll start with our futurecast model. Give me a few seconds to. We'll do that. Okay. All right. So here's our futurecast model. This is the 6Z run. All right. 6Z run of our futurecast model. And I'm just going to zoom this in. All right. And I'm going to run it through time. All right. So here is 1 p.m. today. Getting gusty from New Orleans to Slidell back over toward John Reed. I don't know how to say half of these places. I'm not even going to pretend. I know I want to be good for this. We have a great team of meteorologists, by the way, at WDSU, our sister station. If you should so be inclined to watch, and maybe I'll even pop some of them up. Yeah, why not? WDSU. Let me find. All right. Before I look at our futurecast model, let's just get an idea of what our sister station Mets are saying. So I'm just going to right off their website. Local news, the power of local news is its ability to cover these storms in the neighborhoods and the communities that they're serving. And of course it's not working, of course, because why would it work? Seriously, why are you not working? Love this. WDSU YouTube? Maybe they're posting their stuff to YouTube. Okay. Like videos. All right. So, latest flight cancellations, parish housing. All right. So it looks like they're live. Cool. They're live. So let's dial into that and just kind of get an idea of what their coverage is. And I'll get that set up. Forgive me. I'm doing this all on the fly. Don't judge me. There's President Barack Obama. Okay. Love this. I always told you that there's no politics on Coffee Talk. Apparently, when there's commercial breaks on live coverage, I will lie to you. I apologize. All right. So I've got that dialed up. They're going to be back after this break. Cool. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide. Love this. All right. Well, while they're doing that, I'm just going to put this in the bottom corner. We'll just tuck that away for a minute. All right. So here's the Futurecast model. And watch through time how you're starting to, by 4:30 this afternoon, we're starting to get into some hurricane force gusts there into New Orleans, 60 with some 70 out near Lake Pontchartrain. Notice it making landfall there around Duloc. Is that how you say that? All right, let's take a listen. We've got WDSU on board here.
Bands of Hurricane Francine. We are tracking this very large storm in the Gulf of Mexico right now. We've got crews from the North Shore all the way to the South Shore, the southernmost point really for us in Grand Isle, as we're working to keep you and your family safe at home. So hopefully you are at home. Hopefully you did all that hurricane shopping yesterday. If not, there are still several grocery stores open right now for you to get those last minute supplies.
But our team of meteorologists really trying to keep you updated on the timing of this, so important. And Jim Sion joining us now. Jim, I know you said really by noon is when you want folks to kind of get to their safe place and stay there, because that's when things are going to start ramping up. Is that still accurate?
Yeah, I think that's the safest thing to say. I mean, I suppose if I wanted to split hairs, I'd say the North Shore, oh, you could wait till 2 o'clock or so. But really, noon is the cutoff. Get inside, ride this storm out. The weather's going to be going downhill throughout the afternoon. The evening is when the winds are likely going to be the strongest for many of us. Here's Francine, 270 miles away. We're starting to see the rains move in. It's going to be a very tropical feeling morning. Breezy occasionally, the showers passing through. Starting to see some of the heavy rain move up from the south, and the North Shore has actually seen some off and on heavy showers over the last hour and a half or so. But let's zoom in on the metro area. There's our radar site in Chalmette, and we're going to be using that Doppler radar as the storm approaches from the Gulf of Mexico. But you can see how the showers are starting to move maybe a little bit quicker, almost directly from the south to the north. Here's kind of a bigger perspective. This is going to be
all right. Well, he's doing the local forecast, and I certainly want to listen to him when he's getting into the specificity of the storm and the impacts. But while he's doing that, boy, doesn't this just ring a bell on how the tropics impact you, and how as storms start rolling in, you have to watch the feeder bands and the squalls and all of that fun stuff. So it's one of those moments. All right, let's listen in now.
Rain getting very, very heavy, and the wind picking up. Now here's the most recent satellite view. And I tell you, I came in just after 1 o'clock this morning. Meteorologist Devin Lucy was here. And we were looking, and we'll get to the image, right about there. Actually, no, before that. I'm going to cycle through it one more time. Right there. That looked very impressive. A very symmetrical hurricane. We were worried that it was getting attacked together. And it did strengthen significantly over about a 3-hour period. Having said that, 2 things are likely happening right now. Good upper level wind shear, which the Hurricane Center has been anticipating, this storm probably interacting with that, and then dry air as well moving in. Here's the center, about 270 miles from New Orleans, but obviously less than 250 miles from the coastline where it's likely to come ashore. Here's the water vapor imagery, and I got to tell you, 48 hours ago, I was looking at this graphic and I was saying, boy, there's a lot of dry air out there. I hope we can get some of that to kind of affect the hurricane. And as you know, dry air, if it gets mixed in, it helps to keep the system less organized, and I think some of that drier air is mixing in right now. That happened yesterday, about 24 hours ago. All right, here's the latest forecast track according to the National Hurricane Center. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Category 2 hurricane out here in the Gulf of Mexico. Likely coming ashore right around 6, 7 o'clock. Now, a minor concern for us is the fact that here it is as a Category 2. As it gets closer to the coast, we're going to be watching it on our Doppler radar just to make sure that the winds don't get any stronger. I don't think that's really very likely due to the 2 things that I mentioned, that drier air and the upper level wind shear. Having said that, as you already know, a lot of warm water out here in the Gulf of Mexico. Tropical alerts, yes, we have plenty of them. We have a hurricane warning in effect for Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes, and then everybody else under the tropical storm warning, North Shore, metro area. This is where we could have hurricane force winds in the next 24 hours, and actually much less than that, and tropical storm force winds in the areas that you see outlined in the blue. First,
the reality, and the reason I wanted to just dip into this for a couple of moments is because nobody, I don't care who you are, nobody covers weather locally better than the local meteorologists. You can watch the Weather Channel. You can watch all these other organizations. Nobody covers it like the people that live there. They know, for God's sake, they know how to say the places' names. Like, I don't know how to say Homa, Galiano, Port Fouchard. I could try, but I don't live there. He does. And so to that point, nobody covers local better than the local meteorologists. So that's why I just wanted to dip into the coverage of our sister station, WDSU. I saw Barb said, I feel like I'm cheating on Wesh. Love, we are owned by the same company. Can't you? They look identical to us. It's just a 6 instead of a 2 in the corner. So anyway, I just wanted to take a listen to it. because nobody covers it. Nobody covers it like local. So he and the entire WDSU team are there. They're doing a wonderful job. And at the end of the day, I hate to say this, but New Orleans is no Louisiana is no stranger to tropical hits. This would, I believe, be the 10th system to hit them in the last 5 years. They've had a bit of a quieter stretch, but yeah, it is what it is. He's going through those wind gusts. Wendy says, I'm from Baton Rouge in Central Florida. Now you're doing a decent job with an ace. Thank you, but I'm not going to pretend that I'm great at it, right? But let's take a listen to what he's saying about the winds.
Miles per hour in Homa, 32 in Galliano. Now, as we get to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when things are getting serious. That's why I said noon across the board. Sure, the winds will be a little bit lighter on the North Shore, but don't go out if you don't have to. 57-mile-per-hour gust possible in Galliano. Grand Isle, boy, you're going to get some pretty good wind as well. Here we are, pausing things at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Still very significant winds. And I think that this model might be underdoing the winds in some circumstances. We know the winds are going to be a big factor late afternoon throughout the evening by 8 o'clock, especially in the metro area. This is where the winds could be the strongest. I jokingly, off the air, called this a happy hour hurricane for New Orleans because I think the worst weather is actually going to be between about 5 and 7 o'clock, happy hour in a lot of places. And it's New Orleans. Happy hour is a big deal. You can see that those winds obviously are going to be strong, 9, 10 o'clock. However, once we get to the later evening, early morning hours, winds starting to subside somewhat, but still, at 1 a.m. on the North Shore, you could have some tropical storm force winds there as well. And again, as I told you, as the system loses its tropical character.
Did he call it a happy hour hurricane? Okay. Don't we? If you haven't figured out in television, everybody has their own style. But there you go. So that's kind of talking about those winds. His model there is heavily similar to our Futurecast model. We make some tweaks to it, but yeah, and you could see like tracking, for instance. It's all the same graphics as well. So there you go. Kind of interesting to hear how New Orleanians are covering it. Let's just listen to the news folks, and then we'll get back over to some of the model data. Let's just take a listen.
Never missing a hurricane, and really a comforting voice during any storm. So it's our pleasure, and I'm so excited to say this, but we've got Margaret Orr, Chief Meteorologist Emeritus from WDSU, on the phone right now, kind of talking about her first storm in retirement.
Yeah, and Margaret, I'm sure you can hear us right now, and I know you're on social media actively.
Oh gosh, love Margaret, love Margaret. All right, I wanted to listen in to see if they were going to be getting into some of the news coverage. Not that I don't want to listen to Margaret. I adore her so much. But this is she's just going to be talking about the impacts, and in a way only Margaret can. But at the end of the day, for any friends that are there, if you've got friends or family there, let's just make sure that they're ready for a storm, right? Because that's kind of the direction that we're heading. So again, as he was showing, you've got Futurecast, which is kind of taking it just over New Orleans, right? And some of that worst weather out near Grand Isle and getting right along that eastern shoreline there. But couldn't rule out some hurricane force wind gusts out over Lake Pontchartrain as it kind of slides up to Slidell. So that's our Futurecast model. Let's take a look at the American GFS model, 6Z run. And watch how the GFS is taking it much further west. It's not 100% dialed into where this thing's going to make landfall yet, right? European has also strengthened significantly in the last 12 hours' time. The European even throwing some hurricane force wind gusts over New Orleans. So there you go. We've got a pretty significant little storm moving in. Hopefully it doesn't strengthen much more. The intensity models, give me a minute. Got to type the word intensity. Here's the intensity models on Francine. Some are trying to take it to category 2 intensity. I think that the Hurricane Center is playing that into their official forecast, right? So that's where we're at right now. All right. Questions, comments, concerns about Francine. Today's a day where I'll probably end up sharing live coverage from WDSU as it's getting rougher there on my page. I gave up. Oh yeah, when they called it COVID cane. Yeah, yeah, Matt. When they went and called it COVID cane, I was like, I don't know what we're doing here. So anyway, um, so that's where we're at in terms of Francine. I'll be sharing WDSU coverage certainly through the day today. In addition to Francine, we have 4 areas to watch, most of which have a low end chance of formation. There is the area here on the right hand side that's got a high 90% chance of development. That's definitely going to be something that we'll watch. Let me do this. Let me pop up some raw model data. Give me a minute. Hit that, hit that. All right. And instead of focusing on our closer view, let's go a bit wider and just kind of see. So there's Francine making landfall. Look at how we've got a couple of little dots in the open Atlantic. This little area off the southeast coast is something to watch, right? Because not only does it kind of develop, but then it moves into the Carolinas there around the 17th. So don't kind of ignore that one. And then out in the open Atlantic, a couple of other things. And then another very interesting pattern. And then another, yeah. But this one here off the southeast coast, that's something I'm backing the model up here, right in here. So let's just review. So this is Friday. So 2 days from now, let's come back closer. Friday, little piece of energy starts bubbling up east of us, developing into an area of low pressure, 999, 995, and then makes landfall Wilmington into like the Outer Banks there. Could have a little homegrown area, and that's one of the things that the Hurricane Center is watching. And to my point, this is probably going to be the next thing to watch. Bill's asking, do you have a map of the Gulf? Oh, the water temperatures? Yeah, give me a second. Let me find it. Hold on a second. Yes, they're hot. I'll tell you that for free. Okay. Hit that. Hit that. Just resetting the computer. Okay. All right. Sea surface temperatures. All right. So sea surface temperatures actually cool. I mean, cool being a relative term, but like 85, 84, 83. So 80 degrees is the magic number for tropical systems, and you're talking mid 80s. So it's still plenty sufficient. But like right here along the shoreline, it gets to 82. Not a significant cool down, but still, it is what it is. Okay. All right. Anyway, so that's going to be an interesting little feature to watch just off the southeast coast of the United States there. That's the GFS. Let's switch over to the European. There's Francine making landfall. Little piece of energy off of our east coast. Developing and moving in. This one bringing it into like South Carolina, right? So different there. Let's head over to the European artificial intelligence model, which is terrifying. Little piece of energy off the east coast, developing and then moving into the Outer Banks. So that's something to watch. How strong does it get? Does it become something tropical? We'll see. Right? Yeah. Jeannie says, super thank you for sharing NOLA weather guide. Be safe. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mike says, yeah, I'm going to Morehead City and North Carolina coast next week for business. Well, may have to watch some stuff. Yeah. Debbie says, today is day 1 of the second half of hurricane season. Yeah, on the backside of the peak, right. All right, let's look at some ensemble plots. GFS ensemble. If you're unfamiliar, ensemble plots are basically they take the computer model and they look at it. In this case, this is the GFS, so it looks at it 30 different ways. But what I do, instead of looking at it in 30 panels, I plop them all on top of each other. So in this case, all of them are pretty tightly aligned with like Louisiana, right? Starting to see some activity off the southeastern United States coast. So yeah, some of the ensembles are going with something there. And then definitely out in the central Atlantic, some stuff. Interesting that around September 25th, 26th, starting to see down here around Cuba. Watch around the Caribbean and Cuba. Bloop, bloop, bloop. There's a bunch of little lows starting to form on those ensembles. So watch for September 26th area for something to want to get going. Interesting. We'll have to see run to run if that persists. All right, let me go back a run and just look. Yeah, they're there too. Okay. Interesting. Let's go back 2 runs. Not, there's stuff around, but not like it was. So the last 2 ensemble plots have really tried to bring something up from the Caribbean around the 26th, 27th. That's way out, so not a big worry for now. All right, European ensemble. There's that developing off the East Coast. And then around the 23rd, 24th. Look at how things are blossoming up here, right? 24th, 25th, 26th. We're going to need to watch. Other stuff off the shoreline, but yeah. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. Today, the first day coming down off of the peak of hurricane season. And right on time, we've got a hurricane that's working its way ashore. We've got hurricane warnings in effect for parts of Louisiana, tropical storm warnings in effect for parts of Louisiana. Category 1 storm, but it is trying to come in. And then in addition, we've got, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 areas to watch in the open Atlantic. So yeah, it's getting busier. We'll see how it plays out. Right? All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends? How we doing? Anything? I live in Charleston, South Carolina. Supposed to be leaving to go on vacation. Saturday, Scarlett says. Hopefully it doesn't bother you too much. Yeah. Matt's asking, serious question. Will Wesh's new graphics have a snow legend on the radar? I hope we can use it this winter. No. I mean, it will be available, but no, we are not doing that. We're not going to be doing that. Kristen's asking about the BSR. Okay, let me dial that up. Hit that button. Stop. Drop. Roll. Okay. All right. BSR. Hit that. Hit that. Okay, we're good. All right. All right. So this August 29th, just a moment. So this is August 29th. So this is the 15th, August 15th. With a gale kind of working into the northeast, probably the remnants of, that's kind of funny. All right. A little storm system off of the west coast of Florida. That's like September 18th. So watching around the west coast of Florida. Something going out east of us. Cold front. Decent cold front. It'd be like September 22nd. And then high pressure. So interesting, like the 18th, the BSR is kind of trying to hint at around something around Florida around the 18th. Right here, you see that? That guy right there? Yeah, around the 18th. Does that play out? I mean, the models are not really saying anything around the 18th. I mean, out east of us, maybe, not on out west. The models are really wanting something around like the 25th. You know? But the 25th. I'm just looking around the 25th here. I mean, it doesn't really have much but high pressure over us in that time frame. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Look, nothing's perfect. We're using teleconnections. We're trying to use all the tools and resources that we've got to kind of sneak some things in. Right? All right. Questions, comments, concerns, anything else? I can't remember so much rain in September. No rain for us all summer, and looks like it wants to make up for it. Well, and to that point, here's the year-to-date rain numbers. Like, still in a deficit in Orlando, still in a deficit in Sanford, still in a deficit. There you go. You like that, Mike? Isn't that wild? Something else. Something else. Gotta love Mother Nature. Weather is a humbling science to get into. Weather is a pain in the neck science to get into. All right, there you go. Questions, comments, concerns, storm chances going down for us this weekend into early next week. Anything else? Anything else? All right. We'll be watching Francine. I'll be sharing our sister station WDSU's coverage at some point through the day today just because they do wonderful work and a hurricane's heading their direction. So let's take a listen and see. And at the end of the day, if you're paying attention to me on the social channels, obviously you're a weather nerd. Sorry to call you out on that. All right. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Sound good? Also, bringing it back to what we talked about at the very beginning, today is September 11th. So take time to reflect and think about how we want to live our lives going forward because of so many that we're not able to because of that day. It's always a good day of reflection. So anyway, all right. Thank you all. Take care. See you tomorrow morning.